Good morning and welcome. My name is Doug Dean. I'm the owner and managing partner at Schaefertz and Dean, and we're delighted that you've joined our Business Builder Speaker Series. This was an idea born out of the COVID days when we couldn't get together in person. We said, let's get together virtually once a month. We bring on a speaker with different tips and tricks from industry experts to help the real estate business grow. We hold them the third Wednesday every month at 10 a.m. Well, I want to thank you for joining us today. We know that you're busy and we appreciate you giving us your time. To make the most of your time, we encourage you to ask questions. You're welcome to unmute yourself and ask a question or to participate using the chat box. Also encourage you to get connected with us. All of our socials are listed to the right. If you've missed previous episodes, you can get caught up by going to our website, click the resource tab, and then click the Business Builder series. The videos are stored on YouTube and linked to our website. And to stay informed on upcoming Business Builder speakers, be sure to register on our website. In case you've missed it, here's a list of our prior speakers this calendar year to date, and all of their videos are available for review on our website. Mark your calendar. Join us next month. The third Wednesday in July is July 16th at 10 a.m. for our next presentation of the Business Builder Speaker Series. Next month, we're going to have Officer Hal Schoenfeit with the Alpharetta Police speaking on real estate agent safety and situational awareness, things to consider before you leave the office. And that's July 16th at 10 a.m. on Zoom with us. While our classes are valuable, they're 1 hour, they're not approved for CE credit, but they do contain great information. You can review them on our website and share them with others that might benefit from the material presented. I'd like to welcome Kristen Westbrooks, Account Executive with Old Republic Home Protection. She'll speak about protecting your repeat business and increasing referrals with a home warranty. Kristen, take it away.
Thank you, Doug. I thank you so much for joining us. And if you're watching post this meeting time, I definitely am grateful that you're lending your ear toward this valuable subject. So to give a little background on myself, I'm Kristen Westbrooks. I live in Georgia, Fayetteville, Georgia. I've been here since I was 4 years old. I have 2 psychology degrees. I definitely wanted to, become a psychologist back in a very long time ago, but ended up in marketing. Marketing, much like what our partner here, Doug's Tracy, does. So I did a lot of marketing for closing attorneys, but that actually landed me into this position for which I am grateful. Very much enjoyed marketing, but I'm going to actually tell you a little bit about why that's going to be something that would encourage you to work with, Old Republic first, but home warranty also. It's about the connections that you're making with people. So I usually will start off with a question, which for realtors is, if I were in the physical, I would say, who in here is willing to give up 56% of their commission? And no one ever raises their hand, obviously, who wants to give up their commission. But that being said, I want you to visualize all of the clients that you've worked with over the years. All of the social posts that you've made every, yay, we closed, and everybody takes a picture at the in the attorney's office after leaving the closing table. It's all very happy, very good. Usually with realtors, that's what they'll do, and they're promoting their business. And I led this client to the closing table. We got them closed and everybody's happy. It's a wonderful feeling. It is a very valuable way to promote yourself as well on social media. But what happens when something happens? Post that transaction's closing. So that's what I'm inviting you to look at. So think of all those clients. Now I want you to cut them into half or 50, a little over half, 56%. Take 56% of those clients and put them into a box in your mind. Just take that minute to do that. And add them up. So what that represents now is your commission. Okay, and how does that work? Let me explain the 56%, the significance of that number. 56% of homeowners do not have $1,000 in savings for unexpected home repair. So what that means for you is that over half your clients are going to leave that closing table crossing their fingers that nothing happens, because they've exhausted all their resources. They've done everything that they can do to get to that closing table. We all know what they pay out. They pay out so many different people on so many different levels during that real estate transaction. So that is an effort to connect you with your clients mentally. They could be scared. And rightly so, because when they leave that closing table, it's all about, making sure that they don't encounter something that could happen. So that's where home warranty comes in. So just to put it in perspective, 77% of new homeowners, people who move into a home within the first year, 77% of the people moving into these homes experience a system failure or appliance failure within the first year. Now, given that 56% of those clients do not have money in savings to cover those, and those prices on that, like HVAC, can run up to $10,000, sometimes 12, somewhere around there. Do you think that they are going to be okay if something like that happens? I'm connecting you with your clients in those statistics that I'm using. I want you to think about those people. Now, if they have that experience, are they going to work with you again? Likely not, because that's the first call that they're going to make is to you, their realtor. Because let's just say they get into the home. I usually like to use a reference, Uncle Charlie, Charles Smith. You've just closed him. Got him to the closing table. You took your closing photo. Well, Charles Smith, this fictitious character that I use, he's known for his barbecue parties. He has lots of family and friends over, jolly old guy, right? He gets into the home naturally within a couple of months of owning the home. He's going to have some people over for a barbecue. He's going to have people over for a cookout. Let's just say it's June. Okay. So when everything's winding down, he goes into the house with all the folks that are there, the ones that are left over, and they all start watching highlights to the baseball game, let's just say. Well, all packed in a room, he notices that it's a little bit warm in the room, and goes to the thermostat to check. He's set at 70, it's pushing 80 degrees. So, given the fact that you have just closed him within the past couple of months, who is he going to call? He's going to call you, the realtor. And this is where I like to challenge the realtors to ask themselves, are you going to have an answer for them? That is the biggest mistake I feel post transaction closing that a realtor can make. Because what you have to realize is that all of the people in that home with that homeowner that you've just worked with are a witness to how you handle this. They're a witness to how you're handling this situation. So what does that mean for you? It means that that's referrals, that's repeat business, that's anybody, good word of mouth, positive experience, all with you not answering that call with a good answer to their question. So Uncle Charlie's friends are all seeing this. If you don't have that answer for Uncle Charlie, who's known for these wonderful barbecue parties and everybody loves him, they're likely not going to use you again or refer you out. And all of the people in that room, they won't either. So how much business have you just taken and put into a box of they will never use you as a realtor? So whenever I'm meeting, let me just go into this. When I'm doing one-on-ones, which I do often with realtors, especially if they're a newer realtor, I'll ask them, what is your goal for your business? And the answer is almost always, I want to be their go-to realtor. Now, that's a wonderful aspiration, wonderful thing to want as a realtor. Realtors are people who want to help other people. That's what you guys do. It's what you get into the business for, because you want to help other people with the dream of homeownership. Being the go-to realtor, you need to have the right team in place. That's very, very important. I know that, several brokerages out there, real estate brokerages, will talk often about, working with the right team. Now, you need good, valuable partners in your pocket. You need good, valuable partners in your realtor tool belt, if you will. So that's something that, a lot of times they always have an attorney that they work with, like say Doug. They've got, an appraiser that they call and consult. They have home inspectors. They have, roofers. I mean, realtors have an entire arsenal of people that they use and consult with during real estate transactions, which is exactly what needs to be done. Now, an underrated, in my opinion, part of that is a home warranty. And the home warranty, what that does is ensure that when you close that client, when you after your everything's signed, notarized, filed, all of those things, you know that your client is going to continue on with that good experience that you led them through. You held their hand through. As your job as a realtor, that is what you've done. Now, my most salient thing is don't leave them at the closing table. Whenever you're leaving them at the closing table, that's not going to increase your word of mouth, the positive word of mouth. It's not going to increase your business. Be the one that holds their hand through the entire first year of that transaction or longer, should they continue the home warranty. So with that, I feel that, and it's not even that I know it increases repeat business. I know it increases referrals. I've seen it. So that's just something that I really like to hammer on, if you will. But why should you work with older public? Let's talk about older public for a minute, okay? And this is just going to give you a little bit of an idea as to why and how it's going to help your clients. The process of home warranty. If you're not using older public, I still think it's great that you put a home warranty on. However, you select the wrong home warranty and then you're going to have a really angry client. So let me just tell you exactly why it is that older public stands out. So we have a long-standing background, 50 years in the business. We're backed by a Fortune 500 company, which is Older Public International. And Older Public International has several companies. It's 80-something companies under them. We're one of them. And so you might have seen it on title and on your title insurance, Older Public Title, 1031 exchange. I often partner with our 1031 exchange person to do classes on that. So you've seen it, you're familiar with it if you've been in real estate. Well, we're the home warranty side. So 50 years in the business, backed by a Fortune 500 company. But we rate, one of my most important things, we rate 41% higher in customer service than our peers. That means that all those home warranty companies that you're approached by, we're rating 41% higher. in customer service. It's something that older public, we find value in keeping our customer service very, very high. Why do we place such value on that? We want that experience to be good for our realtors. Why is that important for our realtors to have a good experience with their clients so that they can get more business? It all connects. So when you're adding us as a partner, you're adding a valuable partner that has your client in mind. And whenever we have your client in mind, we have you in mind to work with them and anybody that they refer to you. So that's going to be something that you want to consider whenever you're looking at home warranties, who you're working with, because who you work with matters. It does. It's about the impression. So just to give you another statistic, 93%, we had 93% paid claims in 2024 alone, equaling roughly $130.8 million paid out just in 2024. So my biggest thing that I hear people say is, well, home warranty, people they have a bad taste in their mouth, and I definitely understand it. Prior to my employment with Older Public, I would have probably said the same thing. But that home warranty just takes your money and then they deny everything. So if that doesn't strengthen your idea of Older Public and our difference, I encourage you to talk one-on-one with me about that and to talk about what sort of things we cover, our coverage limits, things like that. One-on-one, I'm happy to discuss that with anyone at any time. So that $138 million is a lot to pay out in a year. We are not in the business of denying claims. We're in the business of helping our realtor partners. That being said, that brings us to the coverage that we offer. The reason that I like to talk so much about the coverage is because I want the comparisons to take place with the realtor clients that I work with. And I work with, a good portion of this state of realtors. I only sell to realtors. I do not sell direct to consumer. The realtor market is my market. I am very seasoned in working with realtors. So, and I understand your needs. I was actually, I like to say I was married to one for 18 years, and it was. So I understand the crawl, the repeat business crawl. You need those good experiences. So back to the coverage, we cover all sorts of properties. We cover single family. The primary one that I work with is what everybody is out there selling, is single family under 5,000 square feet. Our plan levels are silver, gold, and platinum. But we have also condo, townhome, mobile home coverage, my apologies, as well as new construction plans. So if you're in the market to work with, new construction, that we do have those plans available from 1 to 4 years and 2 to 5 years. Those are options that you can select from to decide your client's adequate amount of coverage that they might need for that time frame. But to quickly go through some of the highlights of it, we have no dollar limit on HVAC. So that is absolutely huge for realtors. It's the number one call that I get is HVAC coverage. Realtors will get the home inspection done. And they'll go through those the items that come back on the home inspection. And sometimes they will see something like, the HVAC is close to the end of its life. That's oftentimes, if you've got an older system, the home inspector is going to list that on the home inspection to just kind of, I guess, let the homeowner know, but also to kind of cover themselves that they identified this. So it doesn't always mean that the system is going to fail. That's not what it means. What it means is that it's close to the end of its life. So we have no dollar limit on HVAC for covered components, which, if you look through our plan, our home warranty plan is our complete service contract. It tells you what's covered, what is not. We also have no age limits on HVAC, so that puts us in a whole other bracket of coverage. A lot of our competitors do have those limits in place, age limits. We do not. We also do not have a limit to the number of covered units. So if you're selling homes with over 2 units and put a competing home warranty product on there, you could encounter some problems with that. Should anything happen with those systems. So that's something I like to point out because it is a huge thing for realtors. It's again, the number one question I get asked is about our HVAC coverage. A lot of times I feel that realtors are putting that on for that coverage to be in place because when that system fails, you're looking at thousands of dollars. And again, relate that to your clients, the 56% who don't have the money to fix it. So that's something that I like to definitely let people know. We also have no age limits on our appliances. Appliances are, the coverage is all of your, kitchen, refrigerator, washer, dryer, oven range, cooktop, trash compactor, built-in microwave oven, things like this. And our base plan starts at $3,000 per appliance, again, with no age limits. So your clients are well covered. That's not to mention our plumbing coverage, our electrical coverage, that's all built in there. So we're setting your clients up very well with even our base plan to have a good experience, to have the answer should something go wrong. And just remember that 77% are going to experience something like this during the first year of homeownership. So it's something that you want to keep in mind. And whenever, let's just say that they're working with a competing home warranty company, they are going to experience, if that let's just say something does fail, the limits in place and the out-of-pocket costs, the out-of-pocket coverage that they're going to endure. So I just like to make sure that people understand the level of coverage that they're dealing with and the differences. So moving over to our gold plan, it's $725 for single family under 5,000 square feet. That has a $5,000 per appliance limit with extra coverages concerning appliances. And then our platinum plan, which is at $900 for single family under 5,000 square feet for a 12-month plan term. And that is at $7,000 per appliance. And that is actually advertised as the most comprehensive coverage available in the market because it is. So I just like to get the realtors thinking about the things that could happen because I cannot count the number of distressed calls that I get whenever they get that home inspection back. Are you going to cover this? Are you going to cover that? Tell me exactly, and a lot of times they'll try to get me to put it, in a text or something like that. But fret not when you're working with Older Public because we do state out every single thing that we cover and everything that we do not cover so that you're well informed. But if you ever have questions, I'm here to answer them. That's what I do. But how that increases your business is the most important part of this whole talk. It's when you have that answer, you have the good answer for your client. I just want you to keep in mind that the things that I said before in terms of the good word of mouth. So whenever you're working with Older Public, you're going to be ensuring a good answer for your clients, and that's just what I challenge you to consider. In terms of becoming the go-to realtor, add home warranty in there. It is very, very important. It is an undervalued piece of information. I'm sorry, not information, an undervalued piece of budget protection, client protection, repeat business protection for you as the realtor. I don't want you to give away your commission to another realtor because that one time sometimes is all they need to have a not so great experience, and then you've lost them. So I definitely don't want you to eliminate referrals. So anyway, adding that in to the transaction is a lot of the time I get that. How do I add that in without killing the deal. Um, I recently did a podcast where it was asked of me, how do, let's just say a realtor comes to their client and asks, and they say, hey, I suggest this home warranty. Um, what should they say to them? Because the client will often, you have to remember that they have these experiences. Home warranty can have a very good reputation or a very not great reputation. And so there are experiences that people have to get past. Um, the best thing that I can say to a realtor in terms of counseling their client to get a home warranty is that it's going to provide budget protection. And that is something that is the most important thing. They've just been through one of the biggest events of their life. And you, as a realtor, are to understand that. That's why they've trusted you with this transaction. So remain trustworthy and just let them know that this is going to help them over this time. I was just meeting yesterday with a with one of my realtor clients. Just encountered him in the field yesterday when I was visiting offices, and he was telling me genuinely concerned. He has a very successful business, puts home warranty on every transaction that he does. And he was asking me, am I giving them the adequate coverage that they deserve? Which, in my mind, made me very, very happy. And just outside of that, I would probably consider using him as a realtor because I know he would be concerned with me. Um, am I giving them the right coverage for the types of properties? Because I work with this realtor a lot over and over and over again. He works with older public exclusively, and him asking me that question just made me feel that he's really thinking about his clients. He's thinking about his business. He's thinking about what's going to happen after that transaction. So I asked him, I said, what is the one thing that you hear from your clients when you're suggesting home warranty? Because sometimes he'll buy it as a closing gift for them, but sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes it's worked into the transaction. Sometimes, there are several different ways that home warranty can be added in. Um, but building his business with home warranty, he has used it as a tool to make sure that he bypasses disputes, right? So if anything happens, he knows that that call is coming to him and he wants to make sure he has a good answer. But whenever he's asking me about the adequate amount of coverage and what he should say to them, and I'm asking him, what are you hearing? He wants good service for his clients. So it just so happened yesterday that when I was meeting with him, one of our service providers was calling him to schedule something at one of the properties that he just sold. So I got to hear firsthand how our service providers are handling this. And so he felt that he was concerned about the amount of time that it was going to take for that service provider to get to the property. So that bothers him. This is a caring realtor. This is somebody who's working for their clients. So what does he do? He consults with me on every single bit of it. But his clients are concerned with timeliness, they're concerned with service level, and they're concerned with how much money they're paying out. So when we went over it, we decided on a new plan where he sits at our 725 gold plan. He's actually moving up to a 900 platinum plan because he wants to make sure that they're getting the best amount of coverage. So when I asked him why, I said, this is not often that I hear somebody wanting to increase. He said, this is my business. This is these people, I'm suggesting this to them. So when I'm putting my name on it, I want to make sure that it's good, that they're getting what I've promised to them. Well, what are you promising to them? That they're going to have an answer in place if something goes wrong. This is a successful attempt to protect his business because I will tell you, I've worked with him several times. I have another few realtors who won't close without a home warranty. They're also very successful. It increases your business. It gives your buyers peace of mind. So they have an answer. There's no time that this realtor answers the phone when his clients call that he doesn't say, well, let me get in touch with my account executive at Old Republic and see what's going on. And I will always be there for him because that's my repeat business. Okay. So it's just all about increasing your reputation, protecting it, giving your clients that peace of mind. So, um, that's where I like to make sure that a realtor understands that. So it sometimes can be difficult for them to work it into the transaction. I feel like the biggest fear that I hear from realtors is that if they suggest a home warranty, they'll lose the deal. That's essentially what they say. It's not how they say it, but that's what they're getting at. Because adding anything in could cause a problem. They're worried about that. What I usually counsel them to say is that if there's any way that you can put that in there, at that point, I would talk with the buyer specifically. So make sure that they understand what the coverage is, how much money it can save them. And oftentimes they will agree to it. I mean, when I'm working with realtors and I'm talking with them about their clients the first time, I'll often sell a plan to the realtor as well. They're like, well, I need that for my house. And it's true. So there's just a sense of comfort in knowing that answer. So that's going to increase that positive experience. So that's just how I like to think about it. I feel very strongly about it. But I do want to kind of jump over to a seller's coverage because this is also going to increase business for the realtors. We're in a market right now where um, I'm just going to give an example. I spoke with a realtor yesterday on the phone and they had 8 properties listed. No buyers is what they said. My answer to that is seller's coverage. Statistically, okay, so seller's coverage with Older Public is $75. And it goes from the beginning of the listing up to 180 days, extended at the discretion of Older Public, should it go longer. This realtor had a bunch of properties sitting there for a significant amount of time, and this is not something that the realtors in the past few years are used to. And so we're facing a new challenge here, where there are no buyers. So people are, for many different reasons, reluctant and to make moves. And so statistically, properties move a little bit faster and could be moving at higher prices with like a seller's coverage home warranty. So when the realtors they have the property listed, I will often suggest that they put it into the listing on MLS that it's covered with a home warranty. But I also provide sign writers for when people are just driving by, just skeptical, they want to move, they're not sure, and they will call their realtor and ask to see the property that they've just driven past with this sign writer that says that this home is covered by an Older Public home warranty. It gives a sense of peace of mind. It's letting the buyer know that any questions that they feel like might come up during the consideration of that home, that they'll be answered. It's really, I think what we're seeing here in terms of home warranty is what it provides for an answer. It's the number one go-to realtor thing is have the answer. So seller's coverage is something that I have seen work in success, great success actually, for a few of my realtor clients who also put that on all of their listings. What that does is and literature can go out at the property. If they're checking our product online, they're going to see, our coverage limits and things of that nature that will cause them to likely see that, any issue that they could encounter would actually be addressed during that plan term, should they choose to accept, trying to get into that home, move into that home, buy it, all of these things. So listing coverage is what it's often called. So the plan limits on that, we have a $1,500 limit on HVAC during that time, with the intention for it to go on to buyer's coverage where it turns into no dollar limit. So when your clients are going through, like if you're a listing agent, when your clients are I'm sorry, the buyer clients are coming through, they will see these things, and have them addressed. So I find that that is something very, very valuable to put on, especially in this market. I'm doing a lot of videos about that, sellers coverage, protecting their proceeds, the seller's proceeds, sorry, um, with all of the repairs that they're talking about making and things like this. It's just it's a very funny market right now. Some areas, or I've heard, realtors telling me that, it only sits on the market for, less than 24 hours, which is what I think a lot of people have been used to in the past few years. But there are significant increases in the number of days where the properties are sitting on the market. So adding a home warranty, again, statistically, it moves properties faster and at a higher price, than one without. So overall, you can see that it is, a valuable tool in your realtor tool belt, not only to protect your clients, their budget, and give them peace of mind for your buyer clients, but also for your seller clients, protecting their proceeds, protecting, and also getting them maybe, potentially a higher price for the home. Um, all around, if you look at that for as a whole, home warranty is a very, very valuable tool to use, to protect your reputation as a realtor, protect your clients' buyer's budgets, seller proceeds, address the concerns that they might have about it, and ultimately just increases your business overall because you are that realtor who isn't leaving them at the closing table. And again, just to reiterate, um, don't be the one that leaves them at the closing table because you could be, really doing something very detrimental, to your business, should they have the wrong experience and the wrong home warranty. So it's about if you learn how to use it, we have very affordable plans in place. Oftentimes, I mean, I know the closing gifts I get asked about that a lot. A lot of times, realtors will give that as a closing gift. I invite any realtor to consider it. I have a realtor friend who gives out pizza cutters with their logo on them. I also have a realtor friend who does cutting boards with the family's last name on it. For just a little bit more potentially, in price, if let's just say they put a 475 silver plan that has that no dollar limit and all those coverages that I was talking about, versus, the $250, nice sign for their home, or a cutting board, or buying those, pizza cutters, or just whatever it is. Um, if you could just increase that just a little bit more and buy something that for them that could cover them for the entire year and save them literally thousands of dollars, which do you think is going to sit better with them? And why wouldn't you do that? You know, just increase it a little bit, get them something that's going to really pay off, not only for them, but for you as the realtor. That's going to give them such a nice thing to say, about you as a realtor. So those are the things I like to talk about. It's really not rocket science. I'm happy to counsel anybody on that, in terms of how to do it, what it covers, any concerns that they may have, why we're different, any of the questions that you might have, but just to more so get more in depth on why it helps you out as a realtor. So that's usually what I like to say. I don't really have much more to talk about in terms of that. Doug, are we good with that or?
Yeah, Kristen, thanks for joining us today and thanks for your time. Just a few questions to help wrap up. First,
I'd love to
you
answer.
spoke about um, two different types of home warranties, one being the buyer coverage and one being the seller coverage.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
the seller coverage, it was, if I was correct, was only $75, but
Mhm.
had certain limits on it for things
Yes.
like HVAC and so forth.
Yes. Mhm.
But it still covers all of the systems and all of the equipment
Mhm.
subject to certain maximums, correct?
That is
Appliances,
correct.
stove, and whatnot.
Yes, that is
Um,
correct.
and I believe you said, and I wanted to follow up on it, that a seller's coverage can turn into buyer's coverage. Refresh me on how, if there's a seller's coverage, how it becomes buyer's coverage.
Okay, that's a wonderful question. So, when a realtor will engage our services, like just say putting seller's coverage on, we actually only do seller's coverage, which is often referred to as listing coverage. We only do that with the intention of it converting to buyer's coverage. So, if at any point, it's determined, it goes until the close of sale. If at any point it's determined that it's not wanted, or somebody declines it, or even the listing terminates, or just whatever, we will cancel that coverage if the buyer doesn't want it specifically, because that there is, I don't actually, how do I say this and be articulate about it? It's with the intention of it converting to buyer's coverage. So during the $75 listing term, they're going to have to make a selection for the buyer. Like, let's just say, whenever I have realtors calling me, they will call me up and want to put the seller's coverage on. I will usually put if we haven't cleared it up, or if it's still in question that the buyer might want it or not, I will put our base coverage in there just as a placeholder so that they can have that conversation. But there are two different terms, plan terms, but they will not, one, you can't have one without the other with Old Republic. So there are two different terms, but the same product, the same transaction. Does that make sense? Did I answer that well for you?
Yes, the seller can take out listing coverage with the
Mhm.
intent that it will become a buyer's policy, buyer's coverage.
Mhm.
Um, and at the time they take it out, perhaps they don't know yet who's going to pay for it, depending
Yes.
on what the offer is and purchase terms and inspection results. The seller might agree to pay to sweeten the deal and perhaps get out of some repairs, or the buyer might decide that they want it, or the possibility exists that both might ultimately reject it, or like you mentioned, the listing might just terminate.
Yes, yes, and those are all in our terms and conditions. In terms of being able to determine that. So I mean, you're absolutely right. And you being a closing attorney, I mean, you see this stuff, right? So, but yes, that overall is correct.
The other thing is, I think of a typical home warranty term being 1 year
Mhm.
for the initial policy, but I presume a lot of home warranties can be extended if the buyer opts for additional monthly payments to extend it beyond the year.
Mm. Well, with Old Republic, and it's what it's our real estate plan. We do offer renewal at the end of the plan term, but this product that I work with specifically is tailored to realtors and their clients. On that level, we do an upfront payment for the year. We do not offer the monthly payment except for with our direct to consumer product, which I don't work with. At that point, you lose me as your account executive. You lose me, which it could be something that is of concern or not. But that's a realtor specific plan. So yes, we do offer renewals. It does not go on to a monthly payment. It is paid upfront for the year. And that's something that we have great renewal rates. Just because when people get in, they experience it, they will often, and they see what it saved them, they will, in turn renew it. So, yes.
All right. Well, Kristen,
Mhm.
Kristen, thank you again for being our
Thank
speaker on the
you.
Business Builder speaker series today. We appreciate your knowledge, appreciate you joining us today. For everyone viewing the video, we will get this cleaned up, published to our YouTube channel and our website. Give us a few business days to get that done, and you'll get an email reminder when the video is available. And in conclusion, thank you, Kristen, for joining us today, and we wish everyone a lot of great success in your real estate endeavors. And at Schaefertz and Dean, know that we stand behind you, ready to assist you with your closings, great closings where everyone walks away happy. Thank you. Have a great day, and we'll look forward to seeing you again.